Transfer student experience.
The transfer student experience.
The transfer student experience.
I just got a camera, like a Polaroid camera, so I just tried taking a bunch of pictures.
I love film photography.
Yeah, I just did this. I tried the double exposure, and it turned out.
Oh
pretty
yeah.
good.
Is that like trees and then somebody? Is that
Yeah, that's my sister,
okay?
and then that's a tree.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really cool. It's a really cool process. It definitely makes you appreciate every photo that you take, just because
Definitely.
you've got, I think it's like 24, right? 24, 12 shots in a Polaroid.
Like 10 for the Instax, Fuji Instax. It's
Yeah,
like-
so like every photo has to count,
I know.
And even I remember processing the film as well, because I used like an actual like analog camera. You don't want to screw it up. You have to process like pitch darkness, like you can't see. And if any light gets in, you screw up your whole photos, and then it's like memories are lost forever, right?
I know.
So yeah, I think you definitely appreciate it more anyway.
Okay, so I'm an international student. I was born and raised in Jakarta, Indonesia, and I just came here for college. So that was like 2 years ago. I came to SMC.
And you're doing business administration, correct?
Yeah, business administration, and I'm minoring in the entertainment industry.
Cool. And you are a full admin.
Yeah, full admin.
Can you talk a little bit about how you've been staying sane during quarantine?
Yeah, so I did actually started some new stuff. It didn't continue. It was just like for a short period of time. I started like working out more regularly, and then from Duolingo I tried Spanish, but like that didn't last either. So I tried a bunch of new stuff, but nothing really like stick, which kind of like was a bit upsetting. But I have two older sisters, and my oldest one is back home in Indonesia, and she just started a small business. She went to a culinary school, right? So she's opened like a online bakery through Instagram. Since she's like doing everything alone, she asked me if I want to handle the social media account. So I ended up doing that, and that's how I've been like being more creative in a sense by exploring how to promote the product on like Instagram.
At least you know which hobbies you don't like now.
Yeah.
So it's not that sad. You did
Yeah.
find out about something by yourself. Yeah. What career goals are you aiming towards? Is it working for a company? Is it starting your own business?
On the long term, I do want to eventually have my own company. But for like short term, since I want to go into the entertainment industry, I've been part of this cool organization to learn more about it. And I want to explore being an agent in the industry, because it seems like it's a good opportunity to see the entire picture of the industry. That's my goal, hoping to get an internship and then learn about the industry, and then eventually me and my sisters want to have our own production company in Indonesia, more specifically in the animation part, because my sister is actually an animator.
Cool. And so knowing that, how do you think USC classes will contribute to that goal?
I'm currently taking one class to the entertainment industry minor, and my professor brings a lot of guest speakers that really gives me insights into the industry and like things that are not you can't get anywhere else, in my opinion. And then I also participate in a lot of like Trojan talks on like career center that they offer. And through that and some upperclassmen that I know, they're just been really open to talk and like give some advice and share their experience. So I think that's how like it's gonna help me in the future.
What was the most difficult part of ramping up as a transfer? What was the biggest challenge for you?
For sure is the change of like workload from community college to a four-year university, because I feel like in community college I can just go by going to class without reading any of the materials like beforehand, but here at USC it's a lot harder to do that, so I have to read the materials before class so I can keep up with that. So getting used to that was an adjustment, and it still am, because especially the application for organization, so I was working on that, so I was kind of behind with classes, but definitely keeping up with classes by reading and making a schedule. I just started using Google Calendar to help with my schedule.
For sure, no, time management is key.
Yeah, definitely.
What communication challenges are you facing at USC, and what would you wish that the transfer student community as a student org made more clear for you?
I guess I got lucky with the transferring process, because actually the students from SMC that transferred to Marshall, we had our own group chat and like Facebook, or it was a group me, And then through that, we kind of communicated about all the activities that's going on campus. And we shared a lot of like resources. And that's how I started to reach out early to some of the student organizations on campus, because someone was telling us that they already started reaching out to the organizations that they were looking at. So I started looking at those. And then I started just looking more into the organization that I'm interested in, which is the entertainment industry and also marketing. So I started looking more into the specific organizations that I'm interested in and reached out to them. And then I went to the involvement fair and info sessions to learn more and see if it's like a good fit with my interests.
And so what did you feel made you stand out in your transfer application? Like, what's a point about yourself that you really drove in your essays?
I'd like to say that I point out the fact that I was determined and I'm really passionate about what I want to do in the future. I really definitely pointed that out, and I really showed who I am in my essay, because I was actually rejected when I applied as a transfer and I had to appeal my decision. I realized that when I was writing my appeal, I was really letting go of all the assumption I had made about what a perfect candidate should look like for the school and just expressed who I really am in my writing. And I feel like they saw that, and that what made me stood out to them.
Right. And so if you could go back and do it over, you would try and be more authentic and more unique in your story?
Yeah, because I really realized that, because I was reading through my old essays, right, before I was appealing. And I realized that I wasn't really being myself in those essays. I was really trying to write what they thought they wanted in a student, like in their prospect student.
Interesting. And they can tell. I mean, when you're not being yourself, they can tell when you're just saying what they want to hear. What value do you see there in being a transfer student, and what lessons could you take with you into the future from this experience?
I would say the community is one of the benefits, because once you find other transfer students, you find a community that's like really supportive, and they're just really there to help each other. In my opinion, it also makes me want to work harder for like to get what I want and get ahead in the game in a way. It definitely makes me appreciate the time that I have at USC, only like 2 years for me. Really put everything into that 2 years that I have here, and not waste any time, like literally.
Because it flies. That time really does go by fast.
Yeah, because I remember when I was at SMC, I was like, I can do this later, like when I'm at like a 4-year, you know? And then now that I'm here, like I really have to start doing it, and that just like motivates me to like really pursue it.
And so, I mean, knowing what you know now, if you could go back in time and give a younger Sofia some advice, what would you tell her?
Oh, I would tell me to relax more, because I remember when I was at SMC, I was studying 24/7, like focusing on like my grades and everything, believing that you can't have fun to like be a good student, and that's like so wrong. So the one thing that I would tell my younger self is to just relax more and like be able to have fun and also work hard at the same time, to be more balanced, I suppose. What about you? What challenges did you face as a transfer student, and how did you get over it?
Okay, asking me my own questions, all right. Going to college here wasn't a big shift. It was the same. Classes were the same. The way that it worked was the same. The biggest thing for me was, I think, the independence. Being here by myself, having to figure stuff out on my own. My parents, like, I've got no one here. My parents are back in Australia. And so even if I had a problem, it's not as if I can call them and they can just drive here and help me. I had to figure it out by myself. And so that was a big thing that I learned, was just like learning to think for myself. Because I was so used to, at that point, just like having a problem and just like calling mum or dad. So I had to learn not to do that. I had to learn, I guess, like domestic stuff, like learning how to do laundry and just navigating that, and learning how to live with someone else. Getting used to the culture was also a big thing for me. I mean, you mentioned you're an international student, right? I have a certain sense of humor, as you can probably tell. And yeah, so definitely coming in, I could tell that my humor sort of would rub off the wrong way to some people. I tend to be very sarcastic and witty. American humor isn't sarcastic and witty. Most of the stuff I say is like, you know, sex jokes or just like stuff that's like very blatantly, you know?
Yeah.
A lot of my jokes would just go over people's heads, like they wouldn't understand, right? I'm like just too quick. And so that was something I had to deal with. But at the same time, I went through a challenge of, should I like change my humor to like suit them? No, that's who I am. And I think whoever's going to appreciate that will appreciate it. Emails are a perfect example, right? Okay, there's going to be people that don't appreciate it. Great. But the people who do are great too. So that was really a chance for me to let that shine. But yeah, definitely the culture shock of the humor was a big one. And the independence were the two biggest challenges for me. College itself, it was fine.
That's funny that you mentioned that about the humor, because I'm kind of like going through the same thing, but not in that aspect, about more like being a business major, because in my accounting class or like any other martial like career events, they really emphasize on the jobs that are popular among the majors, like investing and then accounting and then investment banking and everything. And I sort of feel like pressured in a way to go in that direction, like, oh my god, am I taking the wrong path? Am I just like supposed to do what everyone else is doing within my major? But then I realized like I'm not gonna be happy if I do that. Like I know I want to pursue my career in the entertainment industry, so it just like makes me realize that I have to be true to myself, be honest with what like I want to do and what I'm passionate about.
I think that's that would be another tip to people, whoever's listening. Be authentic. Don't be afraid of who you are. I think transfer students especially bring uniqueness. So diverse. You've studied all across the world. You have that resilience. You have that purpose. And that is unique. Don't shy away from showing people that side of you. And I mean, especially in LA, right? Everyone's taught to conform. Everyone's taught to put a mask on, to act a certain way.
Yeah.
And I mean, it works in the short term to make friends, but are they really your friends if you have to put on a mask? No.
Yeah.
True friends will accept you for who you are. So don't let go of who you are, because that's what makes you special and that's what makes you stand out.
Definitely.
Thank you for talking with me. Thank you for taking the time to talk with me on a Monday.
Definitely. And I look forward for your emails.
Yeah, we'll speak
The
soon.
transfer
Okay, bye.
student experience.
The transfer student
The
experience.
transfer student experience.